Hello and welcome back. I'm the Brit.
I'm the wife.
And together this is our Polish life. We've got a mug with Polish life on it now
We
as
do,
well. We got
and
sent them, showed them, Mega.
So good.
Look at that. Look, Polish life. It's lovely. It's lovely to do these videos and people send us stuff. It's great. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. We
Christmas
enjoy
is
it.
coming. Coraz bliżej święta.
Yeah. Who would have thought we'd come to Poland? Not know really anybody apart from family and a few
knew
friends.
a lot of people.
Pardon?
I knew a lot
Well,
of people.
yeah, I mean, you knew more people than me, but I knew no one other than a few friends and this side of the family. And now we've got people reaching out to us, wanting to work with us, sending us stuff. I got Kubotas in the post the other day.
Sliders, they're very nice.
Yeah, and there's other companies as well which wanting to support us. So when people say there's no opportunity in Poland, don't believe them. It's what you make it. It's what we make in it.
That is so true.
And we're trying hard, aren't we,
true.
to build a life here. And I think one of the things we're getting a lot better at is being really consistent. Keep doing things over and over and over again. And no matter how hard it is to keep the consistency, if you can do it, good things happen.
Yeah.
And I think this is sometimes the trouble we've had in the past, especially me, is being consistent with things, you know, shiny object syndrome.
Yes, you used to frustrate the hell out of me. Like, really.
Because there was so much to choose from, so much to do, so much opportunity. And I can see opportunity everywhere. And in the past, I've wanted to jump onto things too quickly without getting the last thing working and give up, go again, give up, go again. But I think one of the beauties of being here and maybe not speaking the language and maybe having my opportunities reduced a bit is I'm focusing more on one thing rather than lots of things, and I think that's working well for us.
I think so. I think you also want to have that thing in you. You're new. You're the foreigner in here. You want to impress people. You want to prove that you can do it.
I don't want to impress people.
No.
I don't want to prove to people I can do it. I want to prove to myself I can do it. And I don't worry about what people think. I don't worry about, you know, how people...
So why do you always raise like a peacock when they say how well you're doing?
Because that's the self-praise. That's the reward, isn't it? You know, my love language is personal touch. That's what I am. But I also like affirmation. Words of affirmation. So if I do something well and someone says to me, that's really good, or wow, you got paid for that, it makes you feel proud, doesn't it? And I do like that in Poland, because in England, I think we took things for granted a lot. And I think people around us took things for granted a lot. We had a lot, people around us had a lot, and things wasn't that impressive. Whereas here, I think when we come here, we talk about doing things on TikTok, doing things on YouTube. It's quite new to a lot of people, especially where we are. Maybe not many people watching this, but where we are, people are a bit intrigued by it, aren't they? They're like, really? You can make a video and people will send you free stuff and you can get paid for that video? They don't quite believe it, do they? But it's happening. It's happening to us. And, you know, I've been doing a few videos about starting a business here and trying to get to at least 15,000 zloty a month by March 2026. And it's keeping me accountable, and it's giving people ideas of what they can do as well. So friends and family come around, we start talking about it. They are intrigued, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
You know,
It's new. It's something different.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of Polish people have the mentality: you study hard, you work hard, and maybe one day you can retire and have a nice life. And that to me is a very old-fashioned way of living. You know, we kind of grew out that way in England.
We're not like that.
No,
we're not like that for ages.
No. I don't believe in working hard. I believe in working smart, and so do you. You know, I don't believe in saving all of our pennies for retirement, and maybe one day we can enjoy a retirement. What about now?
Yeah.
Why not enjoy your life now?
That's the thing. People work their bumps off, and then when it gets to the time when they can sit back and enjoy the money they made, they're too tired, they're too old, they're too sick.
It's the time where maybe health isn't as good. Yeah, you haven't got the energy to enjoy it, and
Why wait?
Why wait?
We had some bad news today. My very good friend phoned in tears because her friend passed away, 39 years old, very sudden, unexpected, and it comes to there's so many young people dying nowadays.
Well, my friend back in England, his son died, 29 years of old. Just literally went asleep and didn't wake up. We're hearing a lot of this lately. Very young people are dying, and it's, you know, I don't want to go into the conspiracies of why maybe these are things are happening, because I'll go off on one, but it makes you reevaluate what you've got in your life when you hear these things and think about what you can be doing to enjoy yourself as well as work. You know, I enjoy work. I'm lucky. I enjoy
You're
work.
obsessed with work.
I can be,
Yeah.
and I can fixate on it. And I could work from 8 in the morning to 8 in the evening every night, and some. But there is more to life than work. And we've got kids, and we came to Poland because we want to have a good quality life. And
Balance.
so far, it has been a good quality. It's not easy. You know, it's not something we've just slipped into and, oh, life is so great. We can do what we want when we want. We can't. You know, we've got a lot going on, and the income situation isn't exactly where we want it to be. We are using savings, we are using investments, and we don't want to be using that. We want to have our own businesses where it generates income, but also gives us time.
We want to be doing something that is fun as well. I think there's so many people, they just wake up on Monday morning and they think, oh gosh, I gotta go to work again. And they absolutely hate what they're doing. And if you think about it, you spend majority of your life at work with people, doing things, waiting for the paycheck, whatever it's called in here, and stuff. And then you become very miserable because you feel unfulfilled, you feel like everything is a chore. It's so much nicer to do what you enjoy.
So when we try to structure things, we're looking at, you know, how can we make money, but how can we spend time together? How can we be healthier? How can we have an enjoyment? There's lots of boxes you have to tick. You can't just be thinking it has to be money and money will solve everything. I made that mistake in the past, didn't I? You know, I would focus heavily on the income. What am I going to be earning? How much do I need to earn? Work. I was very overweight at one time, wasn't I? I just wasn't looking after myself. We wasn't having a good quality of life together. Wasn't spending much time with the kids. It was just all about work. And that isn't a healthy way to live your life.
Yes, I agree. But then I think also when you've got kids and you've got the family, money is a big thing.
Absolutely, it is. But there's got to be a cut-off, hasn't there? There's got to be, right, this is my time to work. This is my time to get fit. This is my time for us. This is my time with the kids. And you've got to build all of that in. Because if you are just focusing on your money, the love, the fun, the health slides, and you start putting weight on, you start feeling lethargic, you start feeling unhealthy, unloved, disconnected, and then actually the money suffers because you just don't feel like doing anything.
No.
But if you are ticking all of the boxes and you are feeling good in every situation, all of your environments are controlled, then actually the money can become easier because you've got more energy. That's the way I look at it.
I think every situation is slightly different, and I get really stressed if there's an issue with the money. And we often, financial independence is my biggest value, and I need to have enough money coming in. I need to feel that the family is well looked after. I need to feel that I don't have to worry about anything. I had issues with the banks in the UK, and I'm still fighting my battles because they're not giving me the money that I had in my saving accounts the way I want them to. They send the check into our old address. No, I said we're not in England anymore and stuff, but I need to have the money. I need to be able to go to the shops. I'm like that, yep, I'll get it. I need to be in a situation where I get the bills. I don't stress over the bills. I need to be in a situation that when the kids have got the school trips or whatsoever, there's always the money in the pot. And we're very lucky because we have worked really hard. I mean, I was working independently since I was 18. I was doing 3 jobs at the time. You were doing all the hours around the clock, and we managed to build our success and our little bubble that keeps us going and stuff. But I'm just thinking, if there's a family who isn't as lucky as we are, and they've got the kids, and let's say the wife doesn't go to work, so it's only the man or the other way around who has to feed the family, pay the bills, and so on, they're not privileged to tick the boxes, because if they don't work, if they don't make enough money, they suffer financially.
I disagree with that completely.
We always have to disagree.
Yeah. I think actually, if you aren't bringing the money in, it's even more important to tick the boxes, and you should work really, really hard to make sure all your boxes are ticked. And what you've got to think of is, okay, I'm not earning the money I want to earn. What skill do I need to learn? Because the skill will give you the money you want to earn. You know, I'm here in Poland at the moment, and I'm not earning anywhere near the money I want to earn.
No.
I'm just not, because we've just got here. No.
This is why I have this disagreement in here.
But the skill is how my thought process now is, what skills do I need to do or learn to make that money? How can I make money in a country where I don't understand the language, the culture is new, everything is new? So I just see, I'm one of those people, I see opportunity everywhere, and whether you're in a dead-end job or you're trying to be a TikTok creator or whatever it is, just try and be the best you can. You know, if I'm doing these videos on YouTube, we're doing these videos on YouTube, we're doing them on TikTok, we put them on Instagram, and it's growing really well because we've been really consistent. But I know the skill is, how do I get better at that? How can I use what we're doing to generate income? And it's working slowly. It's not a quick fix.
That's because you're fortunate enough to be able to do it. Think about the skill, putting the time aside and learn. If there was literally no money coming in, would you go to Tesco's to earn, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 zloty, knowing that it's going to feed the family, or would you be sitting at home learning a new skill that potentially might bring you the income? Okay,
so what you're saying there is right, but when I go to Tesco's, which I would be the best employee in Tesco's. So I don't just earn 3,000, it goes to 3,500, 4,000, 4,500.
Yeah, but you would have to take the hours and this and that, which might not allow you to tick off all the boxes. I want to have the time with my wife.
Disagree with you again completely. You have 24 hours in the day, so do I.
I wouldn't wait for you in the middle of the night, coming back at midnight from stocking up the shelves just because you want some quality.
We all have the exact same amount of time in a day. So why is it someone like Elon Musk can get so much done and build so much in 24 hours and other people can't? I tell you why other people can't. They waste time.
They do.
They don't.
He's got the team. It's not just Elon Musk.
But he never always had the team. You know, no. I just picked him out. He was the first person that came into my head. But
That's
it's the same
high.
Yeah, it's high. But I'm just thinking about him. But even us, you know, we're here. We come to a country new. We got building work constantly going. People phoning us all the time. Can you do this? Can you do that? The builder needs this. This one needs this. This one needs that. We're making priorities and we're getting better at actually saying no to people now. No, we can't do that because we're doing this and we'll do that after. So we're making the most of our time. We all have the same 24 hours.
We do. And it's about making time for things that need to be done. We had a discussion last week because you get really frustrated when you don't get things done. But there's so many things that I can do without you doing it with me. So that gives you the time to do things that you want to do, which means that when the kids come back from school, you don't have to be sitting on the laptop. You can spend some quality time with them, with me, and we've got the evening together.
And that come about from talking, discussing, and planning. Now, so that throws your argument completely out of the blue, out of the water, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it
because
doesn't.
if someone is going to go, let's say to Tesco, I don't know if Tesco's in Poland, Biedronka. They go to Biedronka and they're working their shifts and they're working their absolute best they can and they're becoming the best employee they can and they're coming home tired, then two things happen. One, they come home to themselves and they're tired on their own, not a problem, been there, seen that, done that. Or two, they come home to a partner, they talk with their partner and they work out how it's going to work, which we're doing.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about?
I'm saying that not everybody is fortunate enough to sit down, learn the skill, and then get into work.
It's not that they're not fortunate enough, it's they're too lazy.
It's not the laziness.
It is.
Sometimes you've got to do things. So you're telling me that if we literally had no money in savings, no money in investments, no income, we moved into the country, you would just sit on your ass doing what you're doing now.
I'm not sitting on my ass.
No, but like I would get you out to go and get the job. So we've got the wage. I would get myself out to go and get the job.
Personally,
so
I wouldn't go and get a job. I would go and get a little van or something and do house clearances. I would go and buy some trimmers and cut someone's grass.
You wouldn't spend the time trying to learn new skill, hoping to create the income because the income is needed now. You need money for the food. You need money for the bills. You need money for the school. You need money. And if you had nothing, like you have no savings, you've got no investments, and you've got no money coming in, you would be completely different to what you are at the moment.
No, I wouldn't be. I'd be exactly the same. I might be doing something different, but I'd be exactly the same. Let's say, for instance, I said, right, okay, I got literally zero money coming in. I'm going to go and take rubbish from people's front gardens and take it to the dump. Yeah? Because
that does not require a skill, does it?
Of course it doesn't.
Because you were talking about learning the skill and then making money out of the skill.
Absolutely. So I start doing that. I start making the money, and then I start thinking to myself, how can I add more value? How can
Whilst you're making money.
Of course, this is what I'm
so
saying.
This is the whole argument that not everybody is fortunate enough to learn the skill and then tick off the boxes and this and that, because circumstances might be that you make money, whilst you make the money, you work out how to tick the boxes.
But this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've lost where you're coming from. I really have. I think anyone watching this who's completely confused by Aga, let me know in the comments. She's so confusing. Or if I am completely wrong and I've completely confused you, let me know and say, Lee, you're an idiot.
In the ideal life, yes, we all want to tick the boxes. Yeah, we all want to have the job do something that we absolutely love. Yes, we do want to have time and the energy for kids. But there's so many people who don't.
Because they're too lazy to actually put the effort in. What I said was, if you go to a supermarket, you're in what you call a dead-end job, be the most valuable person in that company at that job, the promotions will come, the opportunities will come, and you can upskill yourself as you go along. I tell you, when I first started, I got on a little rant now. When I first started in my company when I was a kid, I went to my boss, and it was an estate agency, and I went to my boss and I said, I don't want you to pay me anymore. And literally, you know the story, yeah? And he looked at me as if I was an idiot. And I was like, no, I just want you to take my salary away from me and just pay me commission. Whatever I sell, just double my commission, and if I don't sell anything, don't pay me anything. And he was like, wow, this is fantastic, because all he could see was a saving from the salary. He didn't realise if I sold more, well, he probably did because he was smart, but he knew he'd make more money as well. But the more I sold, the more I get paid. So I made myself very valuable to him. He was never going to sack me because he wasn't paying me. So he only paid me for the results I drove to his business. It was a win-win. So I made myself incredibly valuable to that man, who then in return ended up giving me a car and giving me all sorts of other things to keep me, because I was the highest paid person in that company without a salary. You know what, I can speak for myself as well. I've always been a highly valuable member of staff in whatever job. Valuable, that's what I said. You said valuable.
Valuable. Oh, nice. This
is our Polish life.
There's not that many people who have similar values to us that want to do their absolute best. There's what I see in Poland, and that's going to be controversial as well. People get a job, they go into that work, they do an absolute minimum just to tick off the hours, and then they go home and they moan about how much they hate the job and stuff, but they don't do anything to change it.
And this is what we started off with. It's if you want to progress, no matter where you are in life, just work out how you can make yourself valuable. Work out what skills you can learn, how you can create wealth for somebody else, and you'll always create wealth.
There's enough of it for all of us.
Absolutely. But don't moan if you go in and just do the absolute minimum. Don't moan if you've never tried to do anything different and you get the same results all the time.
That's the insanity, isn't it?
Yeah. So was it Einstein? So,
insane. If you do the same thing over and over again, but you expect a different result, and it's true. It's an absolute true. But you know what? I was talking about the situation that we're in. We've got savings. We've got investments. We can have building site in here, we've got this going on in here, the kids can go to private school, and we're very fortunate, but then we worked our asses off to get to where we are. Precisely. It's not that it just came to us like that.
And the reality is, if we didn't have that, we probably wouldn't have come here. We probably wouldn't have, because we'd have been probably jumping out the frying pan into the fire. We'd have to come here and get jobs and try, and it'd be harder for me and you. Maybe it wouldn't. We've never tried to get a job here because we speak English and you speak Polish.
Well, I have to go and get a job as a teacher because teaching at school is such a good job, and you get your pension and this and that.
But then that's okay if that's the life you want to live. Not everybody wants to build businesses. Not everybody wants to create things themselves. Some people were very happy working for other people, and actually, for some people, it's the best thing to do. Just work for somebody else. If you're going to sleep at night, if you're going to go home and not have to worry about the tax bill and paying the rent and paying the staff and all of that, and if that would destroy you, don't do it. Work for somebody, but just make sure when you work for somebody, you give them everything you can. You make yourself, your number one goal is every time you go in, how can I make this company money? How can I improve things within this company? How can I make sure I'm the best person within this company? You'll never be sacked. You won't. You won't even need to ask for a pay rise because people
Always
come
do more
to you.
than it's expected.
Do more than, so many people think I'll just do what's expected, or I'll do a little bit less and I'll just, coast it because they're not paying me enough. They're not treating me well. Give them a reason to want to pay you more. Give them a reason to think, I cannot do without that guy. When I did that with my boss, he was almost like, well, I can't do without you now because, you sell, you make me money and I only pay you on the results. If we had a bad month, I wouldn't get paid.
So that was saving him money as
well.
So
it took the pressure off a little bit because he knew, okay, well, if cash flow is a problem and the sales aren't coming in, well, he doesn't get paid anything. It's not a worry for him. It was an amazing situation for everyone. And actually, I always sold. I always become top, and it worked out very well for all of us.
You're very good at selling.
I can sell, and I can talk, and that's
we know that.
That's how we're looking at maybe trying to structure things here, isn't it? With TikTok, have a TikTok shop, have things we can sell. With the content we create, how can we make that content valuable to companies so companies want to pay us, want to send us things? All of these things are going through our minds at the moment, and we're trying to work this out. And it's not a finished article. It's work in progress.
Still a long way.
We're learning. We coach people as well. I don't think we've spoken about it before, but we coach people within the Zoom and Google Meets and stuff like that. People who want to improve their lives. They jump on a call with us, an hour. We go through what they want to achieve, how they're going to achieve it. We give them strategies sometimes. We take out of what's in here with them so they, come up with the answers themselves, and they go off and they become very successful. So we can do all of that online here in Poland and make a very, very good living.
And I think that's what sometimes really annoys me when people complain how difficult life is, how difficult it is to make money nowadays. It really isn't, because most of us have got this little device called the mobile phone now, the smartphone, and you can achieve so much with that little thing that it wasn't possible 10, 20 years ago.
No, if I'd have come to Poland maybe 10, 20 years ago, I'd be looking for a job, and I'd really be working my absolute arse off to try to learn the language, to be able to have a job, unless I got a job in maybe an English-speaking call centre or something like that. But now, I want to learn the language because I want to talk to people. I'd love to do videos like this in Polish as well. But it's not the priority at the moment, because the priority is actually building the income, building the business. And because of internet, I can talk to anybody in the world. You could be watching this video in, I don't know, America, and you could think, right, I'd love him to coach me. I'll get in contact with him. Zoom call, we're working together, we're making money, you're getting results. So I don't think people can moan anymore. And I think if people are whinging and moaning and saying there's no opportunity, there's nothing, it's themselves they're not believing in.
Yeah.
It's themselves.
Or they're just lazy, or they're just so stuck in their comfort zone and they don't want to see the opportunities because it's the unknown, isn't it?
It is the unknown. So I don't think it matters where you are in the world, really. I think we're very fortunate to be in Poland. I think it is giving us that ability to spend time together, spend time with the kids. We don't do as much as we want to do at the moment because of the building work and stuff like that, but that's not going to be forever. And next year, come January, we're going to have a lovely office, we're going to have a lovely area to sit in and work in. The builder won't be here for a while because he'll be off to Gdansk to help us with another project. And we'll be able to really push on. So don't sit there moaning. Don't sit there thinking, I can't build a business in Poland. I can't get anything to work. You just got to think about, one, if you're working for someone, how can you be the most valuable person in that company for that job? What skills do you need to learn to get the promotion? What skills do you need to learn to make the money online? What skills do you need to learn to build a business? And then find a way of making a little bit of money to keep yourself ticking over and learn the skills. Learn the skills on the side.
I think it was Tony Robbins who was talking about progress in a really beautiful way. Progress is happiness. And with us human beings, if we don't progress, then we're dying from the inside and so on. And I think if you just concentrate on how you can make a little progress every little day, it's going to make a huge difference.
I'm the same. If I'm not learning something,
you are
if I'm not
so grumpy
progressing, I get so grumpy. But just before we go, we are running out of time. nothing will ever be perfect. And actually, you don't want it to be perfect.
No.
Because if you get to the stage where you think, this is perfect, I'm perfect, this business is perfect, then you start dying because you can't get better than perfect. So as soon as you think something's perfect, that's it. It's done. Yeah, you did. You don't want it to be perfect. You want it to be a little bit improving all the times. And as long as you as a person can improve a little bit every day, your business can improve a little bit every day. In your job, you can improve a little bit every day and just get better and better and better. As Tony Robbins says, you will feel great. You will feel energized. You will feel like you're growing, and it gives you that strength and that energy to carry on. So never ever give up. Keep trying.
Consistency.
Be consistent.
Discipline. I was reading an article from Robert Kiyosaki today, and he was talking about how discipline has changed his life. He's 78.
Yeah, he's got a bit about that.
He's still making millions, that man, isn't he?
Yeah, he understands debt, he understands leverage, he understands investing, but he also understands he needs to constantly improve. And we see this just very quickly with our care business in the UK. We had people in the 90s and 100s who were still wanting to improve. Sharp minds,
Amazing.
healthy, always going. We had people in their 50s and 60s who thought that was their lot, didn't want to improve, didn't want to do anything, sat in front of the telly watching, binging all the day. Yeah, and was dying, literally dying. And, you know, you've got to be improving, you've got to be getting better. And hopefully that will give you a little bit of inspiration to keep improving and keep getting better, progressing. And if you want to know anything, if you got any questions about your job, your business, how you can improve, your life, how you can improve, let us know in the comments. We're always very happy to help.